Before we begin this video, one very important thing. This video contains audience participation, so please do not look at the comment section until you're asked to. With that out of the way, let's begin. Have you ever been playing a game and found yourself creating a bond with an inanimate object or random inhabitant of the game? Maybe you found yourself on a seemingly abandoned space station where you found a bucket who you decided to call Bucky the Bucket, and now that's your best bud, and you're going to take Bucky on your adventure with you. Perhaps you're trapped on an uncharted island with only a volleyball to keep you company. Maybe you found a tiny wooden box in the middle of a cold corridor and decided to protect it. Or you're making your way through a mental hospital that's fallen into disrepair, and you keep running into a character with the exact same character model texture that you decide is the same person, as opposed to the game developers having a limited amount of time to create character skins set up reusing the same texture on multiple characters. Or perhaps you're just an aspiring game dev looking for a way to make a connection with your player. Well, today we're discussing how games make you care about inanimate objects. Hi, hello, welcome to the video. My name's Danahan and this is Overthinking Gaming, where we overthink all things gaming, gameplay and game making. Where in this video I want to take a look at how game devs manage to create a world where you care about inanimate objects within their games. While this is prevalent in a large selection of games, with one of the most popular ones most likely being Portal and the Companion Cube, and how that just, well, became what it did. There was a lot of Companion Cube stuff, wasn't there? Subnautica, Firewatch, Soma and Presentable Liberty are games I want to specifically focus on that had a much deeper personal connection with me, and that pretty much broke me through amazing gameplay mechanics and the use of isolation, resulting in me forming an emotional bond to an inanimate object. Subnautica has these little cuties called hoverfish, and oh my, these little guys, just look at them! Look at them! They're so... Do I have on screen? Am I going to show like a full screen shot? I don't know. Here's a hoverfish PNG. Look at him, he's so cute! So I grabbed one and decided, this little guy is coming on an adventure with me. Never mind the fact that I kind of ate most of his buddies and friends and other fishes around him. He was cute, so he gets to live. That's my justification for not eating him. He was cute. Don't know if that's going to hold up in space court. However, from that moment forward, I kept him in my pocket until I could build an aquarium for him, where I then put him. Whenever I returned to the base, I would just stand in front of the aquarium and smile at him. Sometimes chat with him, which I get. That's silly. It's a video game. It can't hear you. You're talking to a screen, but also at the same time, technically right now, I'm talking to a screen, I'm talking to my camera, and, you know, you're watching me for a screen, so is it really any different than that? That was part of my script. I kind of thought about that. Also thinking about the subject is the fact that, like, I have toys. These are inanimate objects I've formed bonds with, which is interesting. What is this correlation? Huh. But back to Subnautica. I could have paused the game at any time and actually gone and talk to a real person. But instead, I was talking to this line of code on the screen that made up what was known as the hoverfish. Which led to every time I returned to the base, the first thing I would do is go and say hi to him and then say bye before I left. I think this is because even though he is just lines of code that has no concept of sentience, he was experiencing the same world as me. He understood what I was talking about. If you go and talk to a real person in the real world about Subnautica who's never played the game, they have no idea what you're talking about. You'd be like, oh, okay, right, the other day I was playing Subnautica and I was going through the water and I was going towards the crash ship and it was amazing, but then there was the giant, like, Leviathan, and he swam up, it was freaking terrifying. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to die, but I managed to dodge out of the way and, like, curve around and get onto the spaceship, and it was amazing! And what's their response going to be? Cool. That's neat. But telling this to my little hover buddy friend, he understands. To an extent. Hey there, buddy! So today I went out on the Seamoth to the area over there and managed to find a wreck. It was great. But as I left, there was a Reaper Leviathan outside. It was terrifying. My life flashed before my eyes. You ever encountered one? To me, they seem massive, but to you, they must seem gargantuan. If I was doing a base move, I would have him in my pocket the entire time until I was completely moved in, because he was my only friend on the planet. I mean, yeah, I know later on in the game you get the cuttlefish, but I'll have more to say about that later on in the video. But my little buddy was so much cuter and had been with me since day one. This is a commonly spawning fish where you can find dozens upon dozens of them throughout the game and in the shallows. So why did I form such a bond with this essentially form of sustenance? I talk about isolation in Subnautica a lot more in a video discussing isolation in horror games, which if you haven't seen yet, you can hit the little eye in the corner here to go watch, but I'd recommend watching this video first because it's probably better. This way, I think. This is here, yeah? But to quickly recap, Subnautica places you in an unknown situation where your life is in danger, where you have no supplies after having to flee to an escape pod as the ship got damaged. Unlike other games that take place on Earth, Subnautica takes place on an alien planet where you have no idea the rules of the world. If you had crash landed into the ocean on Earth, you would have known where you were to an extent, what you can eat, what you can't, what is a threat, what to do, and how to survive. And most likely, if you wait long enough, if a spaceship crashes, into the ocean, someone will come and receive it, rescue it, investigate it. They will come to this pod and, you'll be saved. However, by landing on an alien planet, suddenly you have no idea where you are. You have no idea what you can eat, what you can't. You have no idea what is a threat. You have no idea what to do, and you have no idea how to survive. You're scared, you're alone, and you're uninformed, and there is no one else coming to save you. So the fact the game early on places you in a location with these cute, friendly looking dorsal fauna, of course I made a connection to it, because it made me feel less alone on this alien planet. Especially when it looks like it's smiling. I mean, look at it. Am I still on screen? Or is this just a picture of, I don't know. Here's a semi-transparent picture of it. It's going to be here, isn't it? Like a little thing. I'll just wave my arm for no real reason. Look, I'm in a box. Oh no. And later on, the cuttlefish. Later on, the cuttlefish. That just happened. Sorry, that just happened. But once again, I'll talk more about this later when I get to the cuttlefish. The other reason I think Subnautica can get you to make that connection is because Henry had been with me since the start. Every adventure I'd been on, every hardship I'd faced, every day of searching I had done, he was there with me. Granted, later on he was in his aquarium, but for the most part, for the early part of the game, he was with me every step, and he was still with me in that situation. He was just in his aquarium, safe in the base, so I didn't have to worry about him. But I like to believe Riley told him about his day when he got back to the base. So of course I would build a connection with this random fish, to the point I even took him home on my rocket ship. I hope he survived. Oh god. Maybe I should have left him in the ocean. He probably couldn't survive in space. Ah. These lines of code. I shouldn't be this upset about this. It's lines of code. He is lines of code. He is not real. He is not real. He is lines of code. And I am legitimately feeling slightly guilty about this. I should have left him in the ocean. Well, nothing I can do now. But a game doesn't have to place you all the way on another planet to make you feel isolated. It can make you feel just as alone in our very own ocean, just as Soma does. If you're not one to get emotionally attached to a story and just want good horror, Soma is an amazing horror game, and it ticks almost all my boxes, that's the word I want. There's no K in, there's mixed letters, I messed up my wording, but yeah, it ticks all, I messed that up. It ticks all my boxes for what horror should be. And I think Soma is amazing. But it's so much more than that. Beyond making you feel isolated, the game constantly puts you in situations where you have to make a choice you don't want to make. Constantly makes you make a choice that makes you feel even more alone. And constantly reminds you that you are all alone. So what happens when the game suddenly gives you a friendly-faced companion? Soma is a game that I legitimately consider an experience. Something that, no matter how many times I revise this part of the script, no matter how many times I try to record this, I can't get the words quite right to give it justice for how it made me feel. Soma is an experience that is hard to put into words. I don't know how best to describe it as to give the respect this game deserves. I love this game. I think it is a masterpiece. I think it's art. I think it is an experience. But it is a game that completely broke me. The first time I finished playing it, I just kind of sat there in silence, contemplating life. It was a really weird moment. I can literally put myself back in that moment. Literally sat right there, right over there. I just remember sitting there with the tears running down my face. Not like crazy, like, tears, but just like sat there completely still. I'm going back to that moment. Just sat there, feeling the tears just slightly overflow and just run down my cheeks. But I almost didn't finish the game. Not because I found it hard, not because it was too scary, not because I didn't know where to go, but because there's a moment in the game where I had to make a choice that I really didn't want to make. And I refused. But in order to progress, I had to do it. So much like the end of the game, at that moment in the game, I sat on my computer for a few minutes contemplating how badly I wanted to play the rest of the game versus how badly did I not want to do this. And before we go any further, spoilers. I've been talking a decent chunk about Soma, but I haven't really revealed anything massively spoilery yet. But this is a game that I think everyone should experience blind. But if you don't have the time to play the game, I recommend at least watching a Let's Play of it, because it is a story worth experiencing beyond simply being told. My personal recommendation would be Markiplier's playthrough of it. However, if not, this is your spoiler warning. Soma is a game set in 2015, where Simon, you, the player character, are getting a brain scan. However, when you come out of the scan, you find yourself in 2104 in a rundown facility called Paphos 2, which you soon discover is an underwater facility. A few hours into the game, you discover the truth of your situation. A meteor hit the Earth and wiped out all life on the surface. The only humans still alive are the ones scattered across Paphos 2. However, they have no human form anymore. Instead, they exist as a brain scan of the living human downloaded into a robot body, despite the fact that many of them still believe themselves to be flesh and blood humans, even seeing their mechanical bodies as human. This is what you are. You're a brain scan of Simon from 2015, downloaded into a robot body. You aren't Simon, you're just the memory of him in a body. Throughout the game, you encounter technically human beings. Humans who have been assimilated into the WoW, a supercomputer in Paphos 2 that got corrupted and now will do anything to ensure humanity's continued existence. Okay, it's a bit more complicated than that. If you've played the game, you understand what I mean, but do you want to know more? Go play the game. Anyway, my point is, none of them can help you. Of course, there's the voice of Catherine, a scan of a scientist from the year 2104 that accompanies you along your journey. But she's still just a disembodied voice on a headset. The only human you actually meet is close to the end of the game, where you find the last human alive, strapped to a life support system, asking you to kill her. Which, when I encountered this moment in the game, it's a game. It's lines of code. It's not real. It is a video game. They're voice actors. They're lines of code. They're not real. None of it matters. But because of the journey I'd been on while playing the game, because of what I've experienced, because of what I'd gone through the game and the story I'd been told, this was a hard moment, because I knew if I turned off her life support machine, I would be killing the human race. She is the only human you ever get to interact with in the entire game. Well, I mean, outside of 3 people back in 2015, but that's kind of a prologue. You can kind of count them, but yeah, it's subjective. Within the confines of the game, you never interact with another human apart from this woman at the end of the game. But before the brain scan, back when you are actual Simon, you talk to your girlfriend and you talk to the 2 scientists who are doing the brain scan. So as of being on Paphos 2 though, you never actually talk to another human apart from this one woman. However, this wasn't the moment that broke me. Earlier on in the game, there's this moment where you meet a friendly little robot that guides you through the dark of the level. And I instantly fell in love with this little guy, because it was the first friendly face I have seen in the game that wasn't actively trying to kill me, or trapped, or couldn't help me. And then you go through an entire section of the game with him, where I gave him a name, I bonded with him, I created a connection with this machine made out of metal parts. I cared for him. But then, at the end of that section, you're forced to make a choice. In order for the game to progress, I was told I had to remove his power chip in order to power the door to the next level, which in effect is essentially killing him. And that moment really stuck with me. Like with any of these things in hindsight, it kind of sounds silly, it kind of sounds ridiculous, it kind of sounds stupid that oh, it's just lines of code in the game. Why did you care so much? But I loved him. This was the first friendly face I'd seen in the entire game that was actually helping me. Catherine's just a disembodied voice on a handset. This robot was actually accompanying me, moving with me, so it broke my heart to do it. Looking back on the game now, I know in reality I could have just taken the chip from one of the other machines floating around. But at the time, I didn't realise this, so I really thought killing him was my only option. And I legitimately considered just stopping the game right there. I considered stopping altogether. I loved this game. This game was an amazing story. I was so invested in the story, but I was like, what should I do? Do I progress and see the rest of the story and kill my friend, or do I just stop here? Do I not make that choice? I didn't want to kill the only friendly character I actually got to interact with. But in reality, that's not actually true, is it? It wasn't a friendly robot. It was just a machine running orders, running a code, going from point A to point B. It probably wasn't even aware of me. Even if my character had died, the robot wouldn't have stopped. It wouldn't have felt bad, wouldn't have been sad. It most likely didn't even know I was there. All it knew was, when activated, run Command X. It's no different from your coffee machine making you your coffee in the morning. It's not making your coffee because it knows you want it, because you like it, or because it wants to make you happy. It does it because you pressed a button and it ran a set of commands. This is the exact same as the robot in Soma. And yet, I made a connection with this small machine that's just an ancestor of the coffee machine because it was the first physical companion in the game that was benefiting me as the player. So I saw it as a friend. Also, I realised out of context that sounds bad. It's only my friend if it's benefiting me. Moving on, I felt bad for it. I felt sad for it. I felt a connection to it. Even though it was just another robot like all the other tools in the game. The reason I felt such a connection is because this robot is the first real companion I really remember interacting with in the game who aids you. Outside the voice of Catherine in a game where every other free-moving life form is trying to kill you. So of course I was going to form a bond with it. And do you know what the craziest thing is? I vividly remember K8 having emotes. I vividly remember it being friendly. I vividly remember K8 moving in a manner akin to a dog and its master. But no, I was wrong. K8 doesn't have any emotes, doesn't have a friendly face, doesn't have any lights on its screens to make it look like a smiling, happy emote. It's just a hunk of metal. It is just a small orb-like drone with no face. But because it was helping me, I perceived it as friendly. And because I perceived it as friendly, I remember it as having a friendly face. However, K8 was at least an animate object. But what happens when the friendly character is just a plank of wood that never moves? What happens when the game isolates you from any human interaction? What happens when the only face you see in the game is drawn on? Well, you get Firewatch, a game that can make you tear up over a goddamn plank of wood. Firewatch is an experience much like Soma is, much like many of the games I talk about on my channel that really does deserve to be experienced firsthand. Something that, no matter how much I try to give it justice, I don't think I will ever have the words to completely give it the respect and admiration it deserves. Once again, this is a game worth experiencing firsthand. If you haven't played the game or at least watched it, please go and play it or go and watch it. Please go and experience it for yourself. The game's only about 2 to 3 hours long. It is $20, but it is a $20 well spent. Please go and play this game if you haven't. It is an experience that will stick with you for the rest of your life. I played the game 7 or 8 years ago at this point now, and it is still something that I think about probably on a weekly to monthly basis. I think back on the story, I think back on the journey, and it's hard to put into words, but Firewatch is an experience. It goes beyond being a video game. It is a piece of art that deserves to be experienced. So please, go and play it for yourself. In Firewatch, you play as a forest ranger watching out for forest fires, hence the name of the game. Forest Fire. Wait, no, called Firewatch, not Forest Fire. That's a whole different game. That's a Pyromaniacs. No, you're watching out for fires. And you're stationed at Two Forks Lookout in the Wyoming mountains. Throughout the game, you can talk with Delilah, another ranger in the next tower over from yours, on the radio. And that's it. She is the only person you ever actually get to have an actual conversation with. There are the silhouettes of two teenage girls near the beginning of the game who you get to shout at from a distance, but that's as far as your conversations go with anyone else in the game. You never get to directly talk to anyone else in the entire game. Actually, that's not technically true. There is a moment in the game which is a dream sequence where you're talking to someone else on the radio, but you're not actually talking to them, it's just in your dream. So I guess that, by a technicality, I guess. Even so, people you actually get to talk to, Delilah's the only one. On top of which, you never directly get to see anyone. The girls are just a silhouette in the distance, as well as one other character who, for those of you who have played the game, which should be all of you, I very much hope it is, you know what I'm talking about. You know the scene I'm talking about. There is someone else you get to see, but I wouldn't specifically say you get to interact with them. However, even with Delilah, she is just a voice on the radio. She is in the next Firewatch tower across from you, much too far away for you to see. So for 4 hours, you play this experience where you never get to see another living person. While you do get to see the faces of Henry, Ned, and Brian in the credits, at no point in the game do you ever get to see Delilah, the woman you spend most of the game with, talking to, or even your wife, Jules. Which, once again, out of context, sounds kind of bad that the game studio specifically chose never to show any of the female characters in their game and only showed the male characters. Admittedly, there is a picture of you and Jules on your ranger station with her holding the camera up, but you don't get to see her face. However, my point was you never get to see the face of your wife or the woman who you spend the entire game talking to. And because of that, every person who played the game has their own personal belief on what Jules and Delilah look like. So let's do the experiment, shall we? I said at the start of the video there was going to be audience participation. This is the first part. There are 2 parts. Do not look at the comment sections until the end of the video, but this is the first part where you come in. Go down to the comment section to write a comment, but don't scroll any deeper, okay? Okay, you don't have to join in on this, but I think it'd be cool to see the different interpretations people had. I want you to leave a comment describing what you think Delilah looks like. But as I said, don't check the other comments yet. Don't let them interfere, not the word I want. Interpret. Affect. Affect, that's not the right word either. Don't let them alter. Influence! That's the what I wanted. Don't let them influence your idea of what you believe someone looks like. At the end of the video, you can scroll down and read the entire comments and see who thinks who looks like what. But until that moment, please don't read the comments, because there is another section coming up where we're doing kind of the same thing. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see the different interpretations each person has, because I have an image of Jules in my mind. I have an image of Delilah in my mind. But I'm curious to see what other people's interpretations are, or why they believe that the characters look the way they did. Because I guarantee there are going to be so many different interpretations, and this is going to be such a cool experiment if it works, and people actually take it on and take part, because I am excited for this, just because the way the human brain works and the way we all, same characters, same voices, same story, same information, and yet we get a completely different end result. I'm excited. But at the end of the game, after all the events that happened in the game, you have to climb down the mountain to get to Delilah's lookout, where the evacuation helicopter and Delilah are waiting for you. Finally, you'll get to meet Delilah. Finally, you'll get to see her. Finally, you'll be able to talk to her in person and not just over the radio. But when you get there, she's gone. Once again, you're left all alone. You never get to see her face. You never even get to know what she looks like. However, one face everyone does know and can agree on is the face of Forrest Burns, the patron saint of forest fire prevention, who you first meet when you first arrive at your outlook close to the start of the game. Despite the fact that you're able to talk to him, at no point during the game does Forrest ever respond. Neither does he ever start a conversation with you. In fact, at no point during the game does he ever mutter a word, because, well, he can't. He isn't alive. He is a cardboard cutout of a character. He is the forest mascot character. Despite the fact he couldn't talk back, despite the fact that he wasn't alive, despite the fact that he was just a plank of painted wood, I found myself constantly talking to him during my playthrough because it was the only face I had in the game. And at the end of the game, at the end when I had to go to Delilah's lookout, at the end when the entire forest was burning, at the end when all that had transpired, I decided I was going to take Forrest Burns home with me. I carried him all the way down the mountain with me. I cared carefully put him down when I had to check for the map. I carried him over the rocks and away from the fire. I took him all the way down to the cable cart crossing. And I was going to take him to the very end of the game. I was going to save him. I was going to take him away from the forest fire. But then, when I got to the cable cart, well, I think I'll just let the footage talk for itself.
No, I'm taking you with me. I don't care. I'm taking it with me. I did all that work. It's coming with me. Forrest? I did all that work. He's coming with me. I don't care where he is. I need at least one person on this ride with me. I can't just... No. It's a fictional wooden cardboard character. It's a fictional character. And I'm attached to it. I just don't want to be alone in this game.
Yeah, that was legitimately me when I was still doing a Let's Play channel. I'd grown so attached to him because originally in the script I had written because he was my only physical friend in the game. But much like Soma, that's not right. He wasn't my friend. He was just a cardboard cutout, but he was also the only face you see in the entire game. Also, I know this is completely out of left field and kind of destroys the moment of like the seriousness, but while we're talking about faces, can we just take a moment to appreciate my glow up? Oh, I feel obnoxious saying that, but seriously, like, this was me when I was playing the game, and this is me now. Like, damn, I got pretty. I just said that. Oh, that's one of the more obnoxious things I've said in my life. Never underestimate the power of a beard. This is why I'm never going to shave my beard off, because I look like this when I shave my beard off. It does miracles. Women, if you want to know what man really looks like, make sure he shaves his beard before you start dating him. Or men, I guess, as well. If you want to know what they really look like, make them shave their beard, and if you still think they're attractive after that, you got yourself a winner. Me, I do not look good without a beard, as evidence. Anyway. Back to Forrest Burns, shall we? On top of the fact that he was made to look friendly, so of course I would form an attachment to this cardboard cutout. Even though he was just a cardboard cutout, he was the only human-like thing you got to see and interact with in the game. And yes, before someone says it, I know there is another face you get to see in the game, but you don't exactly get to interact with that face, do you? You only get to hear the voices of everyone else. They have no form. So when I couldn't save Forrest, when I couldn't take him home with me, when I realised he was gone, I was legitimately upset. This wasn't a performance. This wasn't me going, gotta go crazy reaction for like the video and get like the views and get those reaction views and all that. No. Like, I kind of want to go on a personal tangent here, actually. If you want to just jump back into the actual like scripted part of the content, there's a timestamp here on screen where you can jump to, but it's kind of ironic considering this is forming bonds with inanimate objects, and I'm just a line of code technically to you. So by skipping, you're kind of not forming a bond with the inanimate object. But hey, if you just want to talk about the script and actually get back on topic, here's the timestamp. Feel free to jump to that. But though it may not. Maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not. I can't really say. I've only ever spent time around myself, so I can't really say what it's like when I'm not around myself. But yes, I am neurodivergent. I am autistic. And I can't fake emotions. That's why a lot of my videos come across very stilted, because if you don't know, I'm reading off a script. And if I don't feel an emotion towards something, then I can't convey it. I can't fake emotions. I can't pretend to be sad when I'm not. I can't pretend to be happy when I'm not. I can do the facial features and like, yay, look at me, I'm happy, but you can hear in my voice that I'm not. So in all my videos, whatever reaction I give, whatever conveyance I give, I want you to know that that's legitimate. And even if I come across as sounding monotone, even if I sound disinterested, even if I sound the way I do, the bassy, deep me, I am so passionate about these subjects. And even though I'm reading for script, so I don't feel the passion in that moment all the time, but I am so so goddamn passionate about the things I make, the stuff I write, the creation, the idea of creation. You can fucking hear it in my voice now as I'm talking about the passion behind creating. And reading of the script, it's kind of hard to get excited about that, but there, in this world, creating stuff like this, creating art, like, call it obnoxious, call it arrogant, call it egotistical, call it stroking my own ego, whatever. Creating this stuff, creating this media, creating a video, creating whatever I am doing, creating this entertainment. This is a form of media. This is a form of art. This is entertainment. And the passion I feel for it, the passion I feel for creating shit like this is impossible to fake for me. I can't bullshit people. I can't pretend to feel something I don't. So when I get passionate in a video, understand that I'm not just doing it for YouTube. I'm not just fucking faking like, wow, look at this bottle. Oh my god, this is the best fucking bottle I've ever fucking seen in my life. What? It's blue, but it's got red in it. What? I can't do that. I mean, I just did that as a demonstration, obviously, but I don't know. I can't legitimately do that. Or maybe I don't want. I don't know. I don't honestly know, but because I'm getting too warm in this. Whew. Moving around too much. I forget where I was going with that. I can't fake emotions. That was the root of it. But I also want to take a moment to talk about my old gaming channel. And this is going to be, if you already watched that moment, if you've already watched this moment where I got passionate about that subject and let my emotions spill out, thank you. Legitimately, thank you. Connections are hard to me. Connecting to humans is difficult for me. Maybe that's why I feel so creatively happy in this moment, because I'm talking to a camera, I'm not talking to anyone, I'm just pushing myself out there into the internet. Right now I'm just talking to a camera. But if you legitimately are listening to this, if you're watching this video, if you're staying here for this moment, thank you. Because just thank you. But I want to talk about my old gaming channel for a moment. And this is going to be a long section. This is like, I've got this bit written down. It's like about 4 pages worth. It's probably about 10 minutes of the video. I haven't uploaded to the channel in over 4 years because there came a point where I just came to hate playing games due to trying to be a Let's Player. It had become so emotionally and physically draining because playing games had stopped being something fun and instead became a set of tasks. Even though I could have stopped at any point, my dream was, and still is, to be an entertainer. And that's completely true. That hasn't changed. No matter what fucking media I'm making, no matter what I'm doing, my intent behind everything I create is to create something entertaining, to entertain people, to brighten people's days, because the world's a shitty fucking place sometimes. So why not try and make it better? That's the core of my mission, I guess. Here's something I'm passionate about, and I put so much passion into it. I'm off script this bit, but there's a video Markiplier made years ago that I'm going to butcher, so maybe I'll just put the actual clip here, but he talks about things setting on fire, where either it will burn itself out, or people will notice and realise this guy's caught on something. Here's the actual clip.
I read this analogy somewhere where you have this burning passion to do something, and it doesn't matter what it is so long as you believe in it. And that burning passion will start to catch fire, and the fire grows bigger and bigger until other people around you start to notice that guy's on fire. They want to find out what it's about, and they'll either be like, oh, he's gonna burn himself to the ground, or they're like, holy crap, he's onto something.
But at that point in my life, that was all I felt I had to offer. I'm talking about Let's Plays here. I'm talking about like making videos where I'm playing games. At that point, that kind of was all I had to offer at that time in my life. And I didn't have any time to try and explore other mediums because I had to record, I had to edit, and I had to schedule the next day's videos. I thought that was what I wanted back then. I thought I wanted to be a Let's Player. That if I just kept working at it, eventually it would pay off. Eventually the channel would grow. Eventually I would reach the goal of being an entertainer. And eventually playing games would be fun again. Fuck, Jesus Christ, reading that aloud. Whew! Writing is one thing, reading it aloud. Yeah, that was true. That's completely true. Even though I was miserable, even though I hated putting on a mask for the videos, even though I was letting my mental and physical health suffer, I just kept going. I thought eventually something would click and the channel would start growing. Fuck. Jesus Christ. I wrote this. This is all true. There is a difference between writing something and actually saying it, and saying it aloud. I am acknowledging that and how true that is. To those of you that want to be a Let's Player, to those of you that want to be an entertainer, if you really have a passion for it, if you love gaming, go for it. I'm pretty sure I say something later on in the script. I'm going to keep reading actually, and if not, then I guess I'll jump back to this point in a minute. Oh, it's literally the next paragraph. There are so many games on... Oh, no, this is a different paragraph. There are so many games on that channel that were so forced because I needed content for that day, and made games I should have enjoyed so unenjoyable because they were just content at that point. Make funny jokes, be entertaining, dance for the camera. However, games like Firewatch really were a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I think that's what Let's Play should be. Yeah, I fully agree with that. Playing through Firewatch gave me the same feeling from my childhood when I would go around my friend's house, or they came around to mine, and one of us would watch the other play the game, or we'd just play games together. It was an experience where you were aware of what you were doing. In the moment, you probably don't know you were creating these memories that will stick with you, but the feeling was there. I have these powerful memories of watching my brother play the Game Boy Advance Medabots games and fighting Peppercat right at the start of the game, watching him play Mario & Luigi's Superstar Saga and fighting Cackletta on Bowser's ship, watching him play through Portal and figure out the puzzle for the level where you get the second Portal gun, watching him play Persona 4 and watching him fight Chie's Shadow, and watching him play some Diner Dash game when I was younger, as well as playing Perfect Dark on the N64 with him on Christmas Day and doing the first level with cheats on, which is something to this day I still do every Christmas Day. That's true. Like every Christmas Day, I'll wake up and just like I'll download like an N64 emulator like a few days before and just get everything set up, and then first thing I'll do Christmas morning, I'll just play the level with cheats on and just have some fun. I'll use proximity mines or the psychic gun or whatever it's called, psychedelic gun. I'd use I stick a proximity or a remote mine to a character, send them down the hall, and just blow them up. Because that's what we did back then. That was fun. We playing Perfect Dark. These games were whatever. It was the sitting there with him and watching him play that I remember. I can actually remember the exact moments in those games. Those are memories I will treasure for probably the rest of my life. That's true. I didn't feel the need to perform while I was playing Firewatch. I didn't care that the camera was on. I was just myself, enjoying a piece of art and talking about it. Whether anyone else wanted to listen to what I was saying, I didn't care. I was expressing my feelings towards a piece of art and what it made me feel. So the fact that I have my first playthrough of Firewatch archived on the internet forever, where I can go and watch my first reaction and first time experience of the game, is something I will always hold close to my heart. Sure, the audio may be much worse, the camera was super overexposed, yeah, that's completely true, but the experience was there, and if I ever make it public again, you can see how much they meant to me. I don't think I ever will. I might like list them unlisted and like have a link at the end of this video or in the description or something, but I don't really want to make my Let's Plays public again because they're just not me anymore. To be honest, that was never me. After about a year of making content, that just wasn't me. That was a fake mask of a version that I was trying to be. And because I can't display any fake emotions, it was a blank, terrible mask. But games like Firewatch, as I just said, yeah, that was me. That was legitimately real me, and I didn't feel need to pretend. Next line. A lot of videos were forced or whatever. I was just playing them because I needed something for that day's upload. That is completely true. The amount of games that are just for that upload. But the handful of games that meant so much to me, I am forever happy that they were captured. And if I ever were to go to Let's Plays, I won't. I wrote, to be honest, this script took me about 2 years to write. At this point, I'm never going back to Let's Plays. I think those are the sort of videos I want to make. Not daily uploads or anything, but once in a while, if I have a series that is important to me, such as Ghostwire Tokyo and Slime Rancher 2. Yeah, I made videos on those because they were much like Firewatch, much like Soma, much like Presentable Liberty, much like Outlast, much like games like that. I knew those games would be an experience for me, so I wanted to capture my actual reaction. I wasn't doing a Let's Play, I was recording my reaction to experience this game. That's what they were, which just happened to show gameplay. I have no interest in trying to do it as a job ever again though. Yeah. Absolutely never again. I don't ever want to do gaming as a job again. And I think that's something a lot of people need to hear. A hobby doesn't have to be a job. If it's something you enjoy it. You don't have to monetize it. I'm actually going to reiterate that right here because that is the fucking truth. That in the age of content creating, in the age of YouTube, in the age of social influencers, in the age of we live in, there's the idea that a hobby just can't be a hobby anymore. That everything has to be advertised, everything has to be monetized, everything has to be pushed, and you can't just have, here, I like making wooden ducks. Cool, how can you sell them? Can you paint different colours? Can you make different characters? Can you turn them into something else? Can you have animals? Can you sell them to this? maybe get a YouTuber to promote them. Maybe you make them a soap and someone cuts them. Maybe get a red hot knife and stab into it. You know, you can make so much money out of this. No, it's like making wooden ducks. Nah, you can't just do that anymore. A hobby is allowed to be a hobby. As it is now, content creating is my hobby. If it ever does become my livelihood, okay, like that is the hope, that is the dream. But I'm also very much aware that I am going to get a real job. People put down content creating so much, but content creating is fucking hard work. Oh, you just stood in front of a camera and recorded for 2.5 hours. Fuck no, I didn't. No, I wrote the script. That took me months, like years, even. Like I probably put 100 hours, maybe 150, 200 hours. I don't know. I've put at least 100 hours into writing the script, and then there's the editing, which is probably going to take a month, maybe more. And there's all the recording. There's the many takes I've got to take, the flub ups, nope, that line didn't work. Nope, that line didn't work. Nope, that didn't lie. Keep trying, re-changing it. Even Let's Plays. They're not just, let's sit with my camera, playing game. No, you have to be on. You have to be aware of the game. You have to be aware of the camera. You have to be aware how long you're playing. You got to be aware of what you say. You got to be aware where you're going. You got to be entertaining. You got to play the game in a way that is also entertaining to the internet. You got to play the game in a way that no one else has done, so no one else watch your other videos. You got to make a funny joke. You got to take a moment serious. You can't just be off. You can't just be there. Neat. No, you go like, ha, yeah, wow. You'll put so much energy into it. So yeah, content creating is a real job. It's no different than filmmaking. Sure, they're different calibers. One's got a £1 million camera. We have a webcam, our phones, and microphones, and we're in our bedrooms. But it's the same passion, and it shouldn't be taken any less seriously. I forget what my point was there. Right, yeah, content creating is a real thing. That's where I was going with it. And yeah, if I have to get a out there real well job, like as I currently do to support myself making this content, which kind of sounds obnoxious to post here, but yeah, there is actually a Patreon if you want to support it. There's like a £1, £3, £5, and £10 tier. It's just if you want to help support the channel, there it is. I'm not going to push it, but yeah, there you go. You get behind the scene content stuff, you get extra thumbnails, you get extra content, and you get some cool stuff. Most of the content you get on the channel anyway, but like you get early access to it a lot of the times, which is cool. Real job, yes. So yeah, content creating. Nope, I remember I was talking about content creating, but I don't remember why. If content creating ever does become my livelihood, shut up, Febreze. If content creating ever does become my income, that would be awesome. That would be amazing. I'll be very happy to do that. But as it is now, I am more than happy with our hobby. If it never pays off, if it never becomes my job, cool. I am happy to make this stuff. I am passionate about this stuff. I want to make this stuff. I'm going to make this stuff. But hey, back to the script. I kind of just wasted, I kind of just said a lot of stuff in about 15 minutes, didn't I? Back to the script. Let's Plays are fun. And if you really feel like you have something to share with the world, or you think your personality will fit well with a specific game, go make a video on it. But don't ever let it stop being fun, even if it does become a job. Yeah, that's absolutely true. You should love your job. As I say in the next line, there's a section of Jacksepticeye's playthrough of the beginner's guide that always stuck with me.
And that's good advice as well. Whatever work you do, make sure you own it, otherwise it owns you. And for some reason, this game is speaking to me a lot, because it's all about like doing something you really love and like really throwing all your passion into it and trying your very best to do the best you can at it. That's what YouTube is to me. It was the first thing I ever found in my life that I like loved doing. I was always such a lazy person with no motivation to do anything. I just wanted to play video games all day. I didn't want to get a real job. I didn't want to go out into the world to find a job, to ask somebody to hire me or anything like that. The thought of that really like made me miserable. And then YouTube came along, which didn't start out as me wanting a job out of YouTube. It started out as me having something that I could work towards, that I felt like I could throw every single ounce of myself into. All of my passion went into YouTube from then on, and it's now paid off incredibly well, and I'm so incredibly lucky to be where I am. But you have to find that thing that lets you put all of your energy into it. And now I'm a person who loves being busy, because it's the type of busy that I'm doing that I actually enjoy doing. And I think that that's so essential to your own well-being in life. Just in general. Like, it doesn't matter if your passion is arranging shoes or something like that. Whatever you enjoy doing, whatever it makes you happy, whatever you feel like gives you that drive to get up in the morning and you feel like you really want to do something. Sorry, I'm banging my table. That it's so important that you find that in your life.
And yes, that is what this is for me. I can put all my passion and energy into creating videos. And for a long time I couldn't, because I used to be using Sony Vegas, which crashed so much. And for a year I can do that. Now I'm on Premiere Pro and it's amazing. I hated it at first, but now I love it. And yeah, I can make videos like this again where I can put different pads to it because I know the video isn't going to crash when I render it. If it's something you're passionate about, then go for it. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, fuck what anyone else thinks. It's your passion. And content creating, the writing, the recording, the editing is something I can throw myself fully into. As I said, it's my creative outlet as something I love. And doing Let's Plays destroyed that part of me. One of the last series I ever did on the channel was Black Mesa in VR because how impactful Half-Life was on my gaming life growing up. Absolutely true. I knew as soon as I started it, I was not doing a Let's Play. This was an experience for me. Absolutely true. I think I actually say something along the lines of that in the first episode. But when all was said and done, I wasn't uploading the series for YouTube, for the viewer, or for the advertisers. I couldn't have cared less if it ever got a single view. I wanted to record it for prosperity reasons because that really was a once-in-a-lifetime event for me. Yeah, experiencing Black Mesa, experiencing Half-Life in VR, you can only experience that once for the first time, and what an experience that was! And there are a handful of games like this on my gaming channel. Games like Firewatch, Presentable Liberty, Black Mesa, Outlast VR, Valiant Hearts. What a game that is, Valiant Hearts. Spooky House of Jump Scares, The Beginner's Guide. And despite how much it made me feel, Doki Doki Literature Club. Yeah, that Doki Doki Literature Club is, as far as I can remember, is the only game that has ever given me a panic attack. That was a fucking experience. And yeah, what a game, what an experience. These are gaming memories I will cherish for the rest of my life, and I'm glad I can go back and watch how I was when I first experienced such a special gaming memory. Unfortunately, my computer couldn't handle OBS, Vortex, Black Mesa, and Oculus at the same time, so kept crashing to the point that after I'd finished the game, I discovered that OBS didn't capture the final fight with Annihilanth, or most of Zen, which was legitimately really upsetting. But that experience of seeing the Annihilanth in VR, I will never forget that experience. The first time I saw the Annihilanth in VR, playing that game in the final chamber. And I will be forever grateful to Vortex, which is a VR software that turns 2D games into 3D VR games, for existing so I could experience that in my life. That is one of my core memories that even when I'm old and grey, I will remember vividly. Even if the experience of the first time was never saved or uploaded, I'll always have the memory. It's been over 4 years since then, and I can say I've fallen back in love with gaming. And even though all the emotional damage I put myself through trying to be a Let's Player, which, yeah, if you're putting yourself through emotional and physical stress trying to be a psych, it's not worth it. If you love something, it shouldn't break you. It shouldn't make you feel shit. It shouldn't make you hate what you're doing. If you love something, you love it. Don't let it become destroyed by trying to monetize it. Just enjoy it. I don't consider that time of my life a mistake. I don't regret a single second of it now because it led me to the person I am today. It taught me about what I wanted to do with my life. I want to make content that not only makes me happy, but also entertains others. And I am really happy with who I am now. Damn it, past me. Yeah. I'm really happy making this content. I'm really happy making the stuff I am. And I'm so excited for the future of content creating. But anyway, thanks for listening to this part. If you have, it means a lot. Now back to why you're here. Let's dive back into the video, shall we? What do you do when you see a spider in your house? Probably put a glass over it and take it outside. Or kill it, you monster. You probably wouldn't start talking to it. You probably wouldn't start taking care of it. And you probably wouldn't break down in tears at the thought of its death. But what if a game could make you feel that? What if a game could make you call a spider your best friend? Let's talk about Presentable Liberty, shall we? But once again, before we go any further, 2 things. 1, this is a game worth experiencing blind. If you haven't played it yet, please go play it. It's free to play. It's about an hour long. It will change your life. It is an experience. But also, this is the part where the second part of audience participation comes in. So please, once again, do not check the comment section yet. But with that out of the way, let's talk about Presentable Liberty. First, taking a drink. Let me get another bottle actually, because I can tell how long this section's going to be. Got my bottle. Despite the fact I have an entire other video on the channel talking about the game and how it breaks the one cardinal rule of storytelling, but in doing so, only makes the game that much more impressive and does stuff AAA games fail to do. Presentable Liberty is a pixel art game made up of dull greys, where you are isolated in a cell for almost the entirety of the game. The only contact you have with the outside world is letters slid under your door. There are no voices in the game, only writing. Because of this though, through these letters, every single player creates a picture of what they imagine Salvador, Charlotte, Dr. Money, and your happy buddy looks and sound like. And this is where the second part of audience participation comes in. I asked you not to look at the comment section because, once again, I'm going to ask you, hey, what do you think these characters look like? What do you think Salvador, Charlotte, Dr. Money, your happy buddy look like? What sort of clothes do they wear? How do they wear them? What race are they? What sort of hair do they have? What colour? Do they take care of it? How old are they? Tell me what your version of the character looks like. I've left mine. Let's compare versions. Once that's done, continue watching. I'll give you a moment here to pause the video. For those of you who took part in that, thank you, legitimately. This is going to be such a cool experiment if it actually works. That was really dumb. But yeah, thank you, legitimately. This is going to be such a cool fucking experiment, and I cannot wait to see the results. Now, beyond Salvador, Charlotte, Dr. Money, and your happy buddy, there's one more character who you do actually get to see, who you do get to interact with, sort of, who you do get to talk to, once again, sort of. In one of your happy buddies' letters, they include a bug who I call Jerry. Okay, well, technically Jacksepticeye called him Jerry, but Jerry is such a perfect name for a bug that just going forward, any pet I have I call Jerry because Jerry is the perfect name for a pet like Jerry. Sorry if your name's Jerry, I kind of called you a pet. I also want to take this moment to admit to the fact that, yes, I did not play this game blind. I watched Jacksepticeye's playthrough first, and then I played myself. However, even though I knew the exact story, even though I knew how it ended, even though I knew what the story was about and what it made me feel, it still broke me, it still hit me, and it still made me feel things I didn't know a game could make me feel, which is damn impressive. Jerry is just a handful of pixels on the ground that just scurries around from time to time. And yet, my, and I'm sure many of yours, connection to this little handful of pixels that vaguely resembles a bug was so significant because it was the only real living thing we could interact with in this hour-plus experience. On top of that, as the game goes on, it becomes darker and darker. When you first start the game, you have no idea where you are or why. You don't even know who you are. Your character is never given a name, voice, or appearance. So you, as the player, end up imprinting your actual self onto the character and into the game. You're not playing as Keith Matheson, the 6'2" seasoned outdoorsman with a love for whittling and rough, coarse hands from years of handling wood and tools, who has a large scar on your palm from the time you grabbed the wrong side of the scalpel, who goes to pick up trash on Monday that has been left in the local forest, who dislikes the texture of peaches but loves the taste of them, so buys pre-pilled peaches in syrup, who speaks 4 languages and has a passion for baking. No, you play as yourself, and by the time the game does introduce small backstory parts about your character, you're far enough into the game that you've invested in this character as yourself, that you just sort of accept that, yeah, Salvador said I've been to South America, so I guess I've been to South America. I don't remember going to South America, but you know, Salvador says we did when we were younger, so guess I have. Yes, me. Even though I've never left this country, I've been to South America, because that's my character, and the character is me, so I've been to South America. So when the game does become more and more isolating, it makes you as the player feel more and more isolated. You're not just playing a game where you play as a character trapped in a small, cold cell. No, you are the one trapped in a cold, dark cell. The fact that the game gives you Jerry, and to an extent, Dr. Money's portable entertainment system, TM, it gives you momentary escape from the moments where you don't have to be alone in the silence of the game and the ticking of the clock. And if you want to take a deeper look into why and how silence in audio can massively elevate a game, I made 2 videos on that very topic that you can go watch after this one. One discussing audio in horror and the other discussing audio in general in games. However, during the game, there are several sections when you are left alone with just silence. The ticking of the clock, and your own thoughts. In some cases, for a minute or more in real time. Humans will eventually try and fill the silence when this happens, as to create the idea that we're not completely alone, but you are. You are alone. On top of that, you're not alone in a cozy, warm, friendly location where you feel okay with silence as the coziness of the room makes you feel the idea that any loud noise would disturb the innocence of the room. No, you're in a small, cold, empty, grey room. There is no warmth, there is no comfort. Everything in the room is sharp and bold. There are no soft edges or gentle curves. So the fact the game gives you something to keep you company, such as Jerry, is crucial. When you first encounter Jerry, you probably won't pay much attention. Oh, there's a bug in my room. Funny, what is this, a roach motel? Right, buddy? But as the game goes on, you'll find yourself, or at least I found myself, more and more talking to this handful of pixels and quickly becoming reliant on this handful of pixels to be able to pretend that I wasn't all alone. Even watching feral people's let's plays of this, they do the same things. They form bonds with Jerry. I was able to pretend that there was someone, anyone, even a pet that was there for me to spend time with. Someone to talk to, even if it was only a one-sided conversation, to just sit there or to have someone, anyone there, just so I didn't have to feel all alone. Even though he was just a bug, he was alive. He was another living thing in the world. It meant I wasn't all alone in this empty world. I could pretend he saw me as a friend, and that I had just one friend in this game, which wasn't just a random bug aimlessly running around in a confined space with no concept of the bigger world. Just like the player character, who is both you and me. In most cases, as the game goes on, Jerry ends up running under the bed, meaning you can't interact with him anymore for however long the rest of the game has. Suddenly, you are left all alone again. Sure, Jerry is still there, but you can never interact with him again. He's out of arm's reach, just that extra inch out of reach. Your only one physical, real friend is just out of reach, which makes it even more distractive. You want to reach out to your friend. You want to interact with them. You want someone, anyone there. But no matter how much you try, you're just that bit out of reach. Once again, you are left alone with just your thoughts and the silence of the ticking. Just waiting for the next letter that you have no idea when it will arrive, or if it even will arrive, whether there actually ever will be another letter, until finally, at the end of the game, you get two choices. Leave the cell or stay inside. At this point though, your happy buddy is dead. Salvador tried to set you free. The only one left is Charlotte, the owner of a little bakery just outside your prison. If you choose to stay in your cell, you die. A line of text tells you that Dr. Money came and harvested your organs. But if you choose to leave, if you choose to go outside, if you choose freedom, there is no music. No background noises. Just the ambience of a silent night and your footsteps in a dead world. You make your way over to the bakery. After all this time, you're going to meet Charlotte. You're going to get to interact with someone else. You won't be alone in this world. You're going to see another face in a world before the virus gets you. Finally, you get to Charlotte's door, and she's dead. She killed herself a few moments before you arrived. You were too late. Once again, just like Jerry running under the bed, your friend was just out of reach, no matter how much you tried. You could have met her if you had just gone there a few minutes earlier. But now, everyone you ever cared about in this world is dead. And soon, so will you be. The virus will infect you, and in a few days, you will die, cold and alone. There is no happy ending. In the end, you lose. Kind of a depressing ending, right? That's how the game ends. Humanity's wiped out, everyone dies. The end. No happy ending? Well, no. There's no happy ending for you. In the end, you will die. That is the story of the game. But right at the end, right at the very end of the game, there's a single scene. The final shot of the game is one of positivity, of one of hope. And for anyone that has played this game, which should be all of you, you know just how powerful this moment is and how hard it is to put into words. In this moment, we see Jerry leave the cell, still alive, still living, and still happy. And that fucking broke me, man. I broke down in tears when I saw that. But how does a game actually do that? How does a game make you feel such a connection to lines of code? How can any game, big or small, indie or AAA, become forever memorable in the minds of its player? What is the big secret to doing this? How does one correctly implement this feeling? How does the game become memorable? How does a game make you care for a random inanimate object? Well, let's answer that, shall we? That is kind of the topic of this video. I think the crucial factor to having the player form bonds is don't try and push it on your player to try and elicit a response. It needs to be natural and of the player making the choice to make the connection. A perfect example of this is in Subnautica and the cuddlefish. It is literally called the cuddlefish. Cuddles, happy, embraces, yay, give me a hug. Ah, cozy, warm, loving, yay. But despite being, in all honesty, not really that cute. It's kind of fugly. It's kind of, yeah. I mean, it's cute to an extent. It's cute in an ugly way, but it's kind of cute in a weird way. Even so, I felt almost nothing towards this creature because the game was actively trying to make a connection for me. I wonder if that has any influence on dating apps. Like, you don't feel a connection because the app is actively trying to make a connection. Maybe we should make a video on that. That's an interesting topic. check out Overthinking Life, or maybe Media for that one. Which one is it? I guess it's Life, it's not exactly media. I mean, it is media, dating apps are media, but I think it'd be Overthinking Life. So yeah, if I make that video, check out Overthinking Life after this one to see my belief on how dating apps work. Back to Subnautica though. It's like when you were a kid and your parents dragged you away from the dirt and pushed you to be friends with the other kids. But you have no interest in being friends with them. You just want to be over there looking at cool rocks in the dirt. But then you find a cool looking rock and you decide to give it a name, and you decide that this rock is my best friend. In fact, check out this chalk stone. I found this on my beach. It's a massive chalk stone. I was like, yeah, this is a cool stone. I'm taking this home with me. And yeah, look at this. It's my chalk stone. Let me just draw a face on it. Chalky. Give him a name. Give him a name. I'm not going to call him Chalky, because that kind of sounds mildly racist. I don't know. Come up with a name for the chalk rock. It would be a mascot for the channel. My hands are getting all chalky and make my yeah. As much as I love that chalk rock, the texture makes my yeah. It makes me want yeah. Hate the texture. But yeah, cool rocks. While playing Subnautica. While playing Subnautica, the reason I bonded with the hoverfish was, well, because of how cute it was. I couldn't resist this cute little SOB. He's so cute. He's not on screen, is he? They just have like a PNG like floating past, like, wow, look at that. Whoa, look at him go. There he goes. Whee. Good luck editing this, future me. But because of how cute it was, I couldn't bring myself to eat it. But beyond that, at the start of the game, I was lost. I was scared, and I was alone on this alien planet full of horrors that could easily kill me without a second thought. The hoverfish was just the first friendly face I happened to see. By the time I had hatched the cuttlefish, I was already a decent chunk through the game. I was already beyond the midpoint of the game. I no longer really had a reason to feel scared. I understood how the world worked. I had enough food and resources to not have to worry about running out. And I had a base and home where I felt safe. Despite that, the game is actively saying, look, here's a friend for you. Be friends with him. Oh, isn't he cute? Yay. Oh, so cute. But if it doesn't feel natural, the player won't feel a connection. As a game developer, okay, this is one of the important parts. This is one of the takeaway big important funds. Well, I don't know what I was trying to say there. Things. I added an F in there. I don't know. Game devs. Come on, listen to this part. As a game dev, you have no idea what someone's going to connect with. You can try and make things for them to connect with. You can try and give them things. But overall, you have no idea. So don't try and force a connection to something like that. Might just blow up in your face. While playing Outlast, there is this one character that appears for about 3 seconds that I think was supposed to be a jump scare. But you can literally just walk right past him and completely miss the character that I came to know as the toddler. Because, well, I mean, just look at this face. That is a toddler. Look at how goddamn happy and excited he is to see you. For any of you that do have a toddler, you can attest that there have been times where you have walked into their room and saw them standing on their crib, hands on the rail, doing exactly this. This guy was my favourite character in the entire game. Yeah, the rest of the characters were cool, as well as the hostiles, and the antagonist was an interesting concept. But whenever I think of my favourite moment in this game, well, honestly, it would be playing it in VR because, haha, what an experience! Outlast is a game. First-person games should all have a VR option. First-person narrative horror games should absolutely always have a VR option. That I'm not going to negotiate that. I'm like, no, that is a fact. I don't care. Very rarely do I say objective because everything is subjective in this world. But no, objectively, every first-person horror game deserves to have a VR version if you're walking through the world. It immerses you in the world and brings the horror to a whole nother level. But the second best moment in the game would definitely be every time I got to see the toddler. Red Barrel probably never expected anyone to ever make a connection with this character. It was just a reused character skin in a game that was used by about 50 other characters throughout the game. But this one's special. This one's the toddler. This one is one specific character. This one is my buddy. Every time I saw that character model, I considered it the same character from that cell. He is living his best life and I am happy for him. And right at the end of the game, in the final room of the game, there is one NPC standing at the window staring through at you. And guess what skin he has? As in, character model, not as in, look what I got! I skinned this guy alive! Well, he's not alive anymore, but look! Meat suit! Am I holding anything? Good luck me animating this. Maybe just like knocking on a... I'm just going to put my arm down. Good luck editing that, future me. But yeah, guess what skin it is? It's the toddler. And I like to imagine this is the same one from all the way back at the beginning. He came all this way to see me off. He was excited to see me, and he was my friend. I had never had a conversation with him. He had never helped me. And at no point in the game did the character model ever do anything important for me. The game never tried to make me care about him. The game never tried to push me towards that character. The game never tried to make the character model special in any way. But I had built a special bond with him because I had. And sometimes that's the only reason. Just because. Take Tiny Box Tim from Mark's playthrough of Amnesia. It was a random box in a random hallway on a random level with a cube textured with a wooden skin. And I mean, just look at how much Tiny Box Tim stuff there is now. Or I guess was, because you know this was like 10-ish years ago and he's not really a staple on the channel anymore, but you know, at the time there was a lot. At the time there was plushes, there was artwork, there was fan fictions, there were video games. There was a lot of Tiny Box Tim stuff. There was no storyline or reason to connect with that random box among the dozens of other random boxes in the game. The game doesn't push you towards it. And in most cases, most people will just walk right past it. In my case, Red Barrel didn't add the toddler thinking, this is going to be a cute character that player connects with in a friendly manner. No, they were probably just thinking, use character model 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 10, 2 and 9, take them back to the drawing board. Yeah, use these skins. Just use them on any character model. So, what is the big secret? Is it that if you put someone in an isolated situation, they'll form bonds with inanimate objects because that's how the human mind works? No, I don't really think that's... I mean, that's true, but that's not really a secret. That's kind of, you know, basic psychology. No, I think the main point of this video is, first and foremost, these games are amazing and you should go play them. But the specific take-home point relating to this video for the everyday person is this. Games are nothing but lines of code. However, when a developer has a true passion for their game, they can create something that elicits such a powerful emotional response that you will find yourself crying over an inanimate object in a fictional world made up of lines of nothing but code, where there are millions, if not hundreds of millions, of versions of the exact same game out there with the exact same inanimate object then, owned by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people playing the exact same sequence of code, and yet each and every one of those people had a different experience. And if that's not amazing, I don't know what is. However, for the game devs, if you are a game dev and you are trying to form a connection with your audience, if you are a game dev and you're trying to create an immersive experience game that moves at a slower pace, give the player objects they can interact with. Giving the player objects that they can interact with, regardless of how insignificant it may seem, can create such an emotional connection with the player, such as Tiny Box Tim or the toddler. At the end of the day, you have no idea what they're going to bond with. Maybe you think it's not worth putting that bucket texture into the game, but for all you know, that bucket could become the best friend. It could become the new mascot of a channel that blows through the ranks. I'm not going to say Mark is the reason Amnesia became as famous as it is. I don't think it is. I think it just happened to be at a crossroad where horror, Let's Players, and Mark's personality happened to coexist, and it blew up because of that. It wasn't solely Mark, but Tiny Box Tim is nothing. Tiny Box Tim is a cube textured piece of code with a box skin. That's not right. It's a cube textured block with a wooden skin texture on it. That's not right either. It is a digital cube with a wooden skin texture put on it. That's right, and that's what it is. It's nothing. It's no different from any other box in the other game. But because Mark saw it, because he made a connection with it, Tiny Box Tim became a thing, and it became a staple of the channel for years. But no game dev, no one making Amnesia thought, if we put this tiny box right here on the ground, right here, a YouTuber will stumble over it and make a connection with it, and that will blast our game into relevancy because it's become a massive thing on the channel where everyone wonders where it came from, and that will help push sales. They just thought, put a box here. Yeah, okay, cool. But most importantly, don't try and push connection on them, because more often than not, that ends up negatively affecting the player experience. And this has been a big one. Oh, right, I literally just passed 2 hours on my camera. Oh, okay, this has been a long one. I'm so proud of myself for finally doing this. It's gonna be 2 years of writing, but yay! I finally made it. This isn't even the big video. There's like, back on Overthinking Media, I think it's on Overthinking Life now. There's a video saying, hey, videos are coming, But where I'm like, hey, there's one video I've been working on for like 4 years. That's not done yet. I'm still proofreading. I'm still like final drafting that. It's on like draft like 17 at this point, I think, maybe more. Oh, but yeah, this one is finally. I'm so proud. I'm so goddamn proud of myself for finishing this because this one meant a lot. The reason this took so long to write is because this one meant a lot to me. And yeah, I finally recorded it. If you're watching this, I finally finished editing it, which do I want to date this video? It's the 1st of March right now. As of recording this, it's probably going to be April before this video comes out, maybe even June. Who knows? You can tell me. Oh, I mean, it would tell me when I upload it when it was uploaded. But yes, this has been the big one. This has been an emotional roller coaster that I didn't realize writing it out and having to say the words would give me such a different feeling. And if you have watched the video, legitimately, like, there's nothing more in this video for anyone that wants content. It's just me talking to you guys now. If you don't want to watch the rest of the video, this is the heart of heart here. Here, there's an eye in the corner. Go click that for more of my content, or check out the description for other videos, or check out the channel. This is just for, hey, let's talk at the end of the video because this has been a long one. So, hi, I guess. This has been a passionate video for me because this has been a passionate subject. Because trying to relate the feelings I felt playing these games is impossible because they're pure emotion, which, as I said earlier, I don't understand. I can't really transcribe, correlate, translate, convey. I can't really convey emotions well. I can't describe how I feel about them. So trying to translate that has been very hard. But these are games that, even with my mind the way it is, I know are special things. I know they are more than games. They are art. They are an experience. They deserve love. So, if you have watched this video and you haven't played the games, I'm actually slightly sad for you. As obnoxious as that may sound, you will never experience the games firsthand for yourself, and that makes me sad because they are experiences. So I think Subnautica is £20. It's an amazing game. It's definitely an experience. Soma, I think, is £15. Once again, that's an experience. That is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Please go and play it. If you don't like horror games, if you don't like fighting, if you don't like scary things, there is a passive mode in that game where it's literally just like there's no monsters, you're just walking through the world. And that is a whole nother subject I want to make a video on because passive mode games, oh my god, they need to exist more often than other games, but... Presentable Liberty is free, but the creator of Presentable Liberty unfortunately killed himself a few years ago. You can download the game for free, but when you do go to download it, there is a prompt saying, hey, would you like to pay to the creator for it? Originally I cut this part out of my script earlier on because I don't know the logistics of this, so by all means, please, someone in the comment section. Oh, you can check the comment section now. It's safe to check the comment section. But if you do know, if you use websites like Game Jolts or Humble Bundle or itch.io, please tell me this works because I want to correctly word this. But when the game asks you to pay for it, if you want to, you can download it for free. But if it asks you to, like, hey, do you want to donate some money? If that money goes to like the families of the creator, by all means, please pay for it. It's a piece of art. Media is a masterpiece. But if that money just goes into the bank of itch.io or Game Jolt or Humble Bundle, not that I don't advocate for supporting game websites, but in that situation, instead of paying for it, just download it for free and donate that money to a suicide prevention charity. I'll leave some links to some prevention charities in the comment section below because it sucks. It legitimately sucks when people lose that battle. And the other game, there's Firewatch, which is £20, and once again, it's only a 2.5 hour experience, but it is an experience of a lifetime. So with that all said, I guess end of the video. I'll plug it again. Yeah, there's a Patreon if you want to support the channel. If not, by all means, yeah, to keep watching the content. I love you guys for watching. You've watched this entire thing. This has been a very personal video. If you do think your friends or anyone will enjoy this, you know what to do. You can like, share, and subscribe, and all that. That's how the platform works. I don't need to tell you that, but you know, the way the world works, it helps to remind you. So yeah, you can do that if you want to, and if not, okay, cool. I can't believe you break my heart like this. No, if not, cool. That's fine as well. No one is forced to subscribe or like or share. I'm just really thankful and legitimately so happy that people have watched my content. So for now, thank you so much, all of you, any of you, however many people have watched this. Thank you for letting me get one step closer, because you've given me about 2 hours of watch time each. And that gets me one step closer to getting my content out there and allowing me to be an entertainer, to entertain more people, to reach my dream of being an entertainer. And I can't show my thanks for that. I can't put into words. I can't ever repay that, because how does someone do that? How does someone repay someone helping them reach their dream? I keep making content, but that doesn't feel like it's enough. But thank you. Thank you all so much. And until next time, I don't know, eat your vegetables. Vegetables are great. They get a bad rap, but vegetables are delicious. Eat a salad. They're delicious.